G'day, my name is Trevor Young, and this is the Reputation Revolution, the Personal Brand Monetisation Show. Great to have your company. And in this episode, we're going to look at how we can scale our business using automation. Let's dig in. My guest today is Alycia Edgar. She is a time freedom and profit strategist. We'll ask her what that means in a minute, who helps six-figure entrepreneurs automate and leverage their business to amplify growth. Welcome to the show, Alicia. What were you doing 10 years ago?
Ooh, Trevor, 10 years ago. Let me see. I wasn't even anywhere near doing what I'm doing now. I was an accountant with an accounting business, dealing with clients, helping them from an accounting perspective. So very far removed from what I'm actually doing now.
But I guess being an accountant has helped you because you help people grow their business, and but it's just would have been a good background for you.
Oh, look, totally. It kind of underpins everything, really, because that's my formal training, I guess you could say. And so accountants are all about profit. And so everything I do, no matter what it is, saving someone time, implementing systems, it's all about profit because that's what matters in business.
So you've got it looks like you've got a couple of businesses. So by way of background, why don't you give us a bit of a quick update on what you're working on?
Cool. So I have my Business Performance HQ, which has been around for a long, long time. It at the moment is very much about systems, programs and courses that I have that are all about saving you time, making you money, making you more profitable, things like that. So I'm very systematic in the way I think, and also have the whole creative marketing bent as well. Like I spent greater than 10 years. I still consider myself a marketing student, even though I do marketing for clients, because you never stop learning when it comes to marketing in particular.
Not today.
So Business Performance HQ is very much around the courses and products and whatnot that I have. And I've just recently sort of launched my own personal brand, as you like to talk about, around me, Alycia Edgar, because I have been prominent as my business for many, many years. And I'll explain how I did that and why I'm now doing what I'm doing. And I didn't need to show up. I didn't need to have a personal brand. And in fact, I could probably get away with it now, but I don't want to. I can see an whole other level that I can take what I do with a personal brand and with all the other stuff that I've done for my business in the past.
Yeah, it's a question we get a lot now, business brand versus personal brand, and I'm very much personal brand because that's transportable. And a couple of episodes ago, I spoke with Jackie Goddard, and she's runs a business called Power to Speak, and she gave a good rundown on why she gave a business name as well. So, it's all up for grabs, that's for sure. But just before we get into the whole automation with some depth, I mean, you've eaten, it's my phrase here, eaten your own dog food in as much as everything we're going to be talking about, you've actually done. Why don't you give us a bit of a heads up on how it's worked for you and what is all automation and systematizing your business enterprise around your personal brand. What has that allowed you to do?
So for me, automation has meant freedom and time freedom. So I currently live in Thailand. It's a choice, and I work from here, and we can travel and I can work from wherever. So I have set my business up in such a way that it doesn't always require me to be there.
Yep.
I have things working on autopilot, and that's what I love. And prior to being in Thailand, that allowed me to make my way around Australia in a camper van, doing the whole van life thing. And prior to that, while I was in a stationary house, which I currently am in Thailand, everything was still running on autopilot. So it's very much, I love to set things up, create them once, and then make them do their thing and continue to do their thing so that they repeatably work.
Yep. So, where the podcast is, we're now in season 8, and we've shifted the focus completely to personal brand monetization, which means people are going to be running businesses off the back of their reputation and profile, and sometimes that may be like yourself, or like yourself times square. You've got your original business that you had a name for. And performance business, was it? Performance HQ? Business Performance HQ.
Yeah.
And but you're also now moving more towards your own brand, and so this will work for either. But what sort of businesses is this going to be good for?
I can actually tell you hand on heart that any business can benefit tremendously from automation, because it takes us as the business owner and us as the person who is always responsible and always has to be on for the business. It takes us out of the equation and allows something to run on autopilot and do what it needs to do without us getting in the way. Because here's the thing, as humans, we love to mess with things, even if they're working. So you put something in as an automation, it can work extremely well for a long, long time, and you just have to not mess with it. So a perfect example, I changed systems last week, and I messed with the automation, and it totally stuffed up. Whereas if I'd left it alone, it would have been okay. So even someone like me, who has many, many years experience with automation, my human behavior and the human behavior we have, we want to tweak and tinker and maybe I could make this better. And so there's also that mindset thing around it as well, that automation is there to help you, so don't hinder it in the process.
Yeah. So I was going to say it's a big word. It means a lot of things to a lot of people, automation. And for some, it might be as simple as email. But why don't you give us a bit of a rundown on when you talk about automation and the types of businesses you work with and the clients you advise, what are the sorts of things they're automating? What are the key automation blocks?
So there's lots of things around. So the key things are time is often the outcome of the automation. So time is something that I focus on a lot. Marketing, it's insane what you can automate from a marketing perspective, and also your knowledge. So I think what a lot of people don't realize is how you can take what you do for your clients and put that on autopilot, but also what you are doing in the delivery, doing in the day-to-day, doing in the day-to-day of your business, and how you can automate that as well. And then there's also time, marketing, and then profits. So being able to create profits automatically, I like to say.
Oh, we like that.
Automatically, so that you have that consistent income, and you have, I like to say, little automatic fingers in all the pies, so that you have all the monies coming to you. And look, it's not something you can, I could hand on heart say, oh, Trevor, you can go and do this tomorrow and you'll have all the little things coming in. No, it doesn't happen like that. But
no,
you do one at a time. You just keep adding and adding, and then you start to get that autopilot thing. So there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about in a minute around examples of what that can look like.
Alrighty. Why don't you? Let's get into the examples. I mean, it's just really to, paint a bit of a picture, I guess. So it's I guess admin. There's parts of admin, marketing, absolutely, definitely, and a lot of people probably have seen that in action. Delivery, I guess that depends a little bit on if you're a service-based business and you're productizing. I guess that's what you're saying there.
Yep.
And I guess the this, saving time is terrific, and I think most people running businesses want to free up their time, and that allows you to think. If you don't have to take the day off, you can still use it for think time for your business or content creation, which fuels the machine a little bit more. But I guess if you don't have to put people on to do things as well, you're saving yourself money as well. So we'll dig into that side in a tick. But yeah, let's even go a little bit deeper, and if we look at the marketing side, what is the automation in the marketing versus the delivery
So
of
from a marketing side, there's so much. I have 4 areas from a marketing perspective that I like to focus on. So one being awareness. So taking content marketing and amplifying that so that it gets seen by way more eyeballs than what the algorithm will do for you.
Yep.
Lead generation on autopilot. So having some type of lead generation tool and putting that on autopilot so that you are generating leads every day, so that you don't necessarily have to go to some networking event or be over here doing something. It's about putting the things that grow a business and the things that we require our time and our effort to do. Automation allows you to take that thing and do it for you every day, however you look at it. So lead generation is another one. I personally love to get my lead generation paid for. So in other words, having lead generation that works for you in such a way where you are selling some sort of low ticket item that actually brings new people into your world, but they have paid to be there. And in that way, I'm always using paid ads to generate those kind of leads. And so the ads get paid for.
Yep.
But the quality of the person who comes in and puts, reaches into their back pocket, pulls out money and says, yes, I want to buy that thing, compared to someone who might come along and download your free lead magnet. It depends where they are on that curve of whether they're in that awareness stage, the curious stage, or they're that, top 3% of I'm ready to buy right now. So you have to make sure that you have those options available for people who are ready to buy right now, who do want to have a taste test of you, who do like what you do, and you can put all that on autopilot. Create it once.
And by low ticket, by low ticket, you're talking around $27, $20 or $19, $99 to $49 or something like that.
From a dad's perspective, you've got to start with something that's kind of less than $27 or less. It used to be about 37. I lie. I have a $37 product, but generally $27 less, and it just creates that first time purchase with you, and they get into your world, and you can shine brightly and show them how awesome you are and how much you can help them and that sort of thing. So that's the lead generation pay for. So there's, in marketing in particular, there's those 4 areas that you can do a lot with. So, Trevor, how about I ask you a couple of questions around these particular areas in marketing, and then we can see what you could do with yours.
This is called me being a guinea pig.
Totally. So tell me about what kind of things do you do from a content strategy perspective? So what sort of content are you putting out there?
Yeah, well, I'm in a little bit of transition, so this will be quite timely in terms of content. And as you know, I've been blogging and doing content for a very long time. I mean, I've got a blog, but more so it's this podcast. I've added a second podcast, which will be a little closer to what I offer in the business. So that's one step, and that'll be the one that I kind of probably need to launch and promote. and very heavy social media with the LinkedIn skew. Like most
Okay.
days, I'm putting stuff up there on LinkedIn. So that's and newsletter and a newsletter.
Awesome. So, a couple of things with the podcast or your two podcasts, because over the last 5 years for me, a lot of, particularly for marketing, a lot of the automation side of it for me is about funnels, but also paid advertising. So,
Yep.
for example, you can promote posts around your podcast, your blog, and it can cost you as little as like $1.50 a day.
Yeah, nice.
And
You're talking Facebook?
yep,
Facebook?
Facebook ads. And what that does is the algorithm is designed now to only show it to a certain amount of people, and it might show it to more people if you're doing all the things that Facebook and Instagram wants you to do. Maybe you're dancing, I'm not personally not into that. But maybe you are doing all those things to be nice to the algorithm. A much easier approach is to do Facebook ads. And these ads I'm talking about are really simple. Like, they're not complicated. It's not boosting a post. It's a bit different. You actually go into the Ads Manager platform. But by taking that content that you're already making, you're already spending time making this content, you can actually get it in front of more chance of getting in front of your entire audience, if not new people, like particularly with a podcast. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
Trevor, you could actually promote that out to audience at large, and figure out who exactly you're targeting, and pick the interests and all the various things you can do from an audience perspective, and get the word out there about your podcast. But then you can also promote it to what I call your warm audience. So the people who are already in your world and know you, and they can see it. So and it's the same, I look at it as, we don't always open our email. We don't always see the social posts that you have posted at a particular point in time.
Yep.
But if you promote a social post, or a post of some sort which is talking about that thing, so in this example, the podcast, for a week after it's been released, you've got way more chance of your warm audience seeing it. But then you can then take that post and put it to a cold audience, people who've never heard of you before, and that becomes your magnet of getting new people into your world.
Yeah, and it'll be good because my other podcast is called Become Your Own PR Machine. Bit of a plug there. It's now up and running. And all the things we used to talk about here on the Reputation Revolution around personal branding, I've just expanded them out a little bit to more, business and personal brands. But it's all the things under a PR remit, which is, content, social, networking, speaking, all the things, media relations, influencer relations, all of those things. So coming from a standing start would be actually quite good, because it can be much harder today to build an audience on a podcast than it was when I started this show a number of years ago, and this one's already trundling along. So it'd be good to start it with a fresh.
And what I love is I'd rather pay to play than dance to play. I just, try and understand how all the algorithms work when it's so easy to pay to play. Can you lose lots of money if you go really deep into it? Yeah, you've got to know what you're doing. But this amplifying social content is really low budget, and it can just give you that amplification that you need, because marketing is great, but if you don't have enough eyeballs on it, you don't know if it's really working the way you want it to. And that's where the automation can come into it as well. The other thing around social is things like ManyChat. So a lot of people might put a social post out there, and it might have a link in bio. Now, link in bio, that's great. So I'm talking specifically about Instagram here.
Insta,
Link in bio is great, but it's still another step that someone has to take. Go to the bio, click on the link, try and find the thing. Whereas you can use tools like ManyChat, and part of the call to action might be comment, amplify, if you want to know how to amplify your ads, whatever the call out is. And so people comment, amplify, and you set ManyChat up to automatically send them a DM because they have given that trigger word, and it will send them a DM. It's from you. It's something you've already pre-set up. So if you had 50 of those overnight while you're asleep, boom, they've all got their messages. They're all happy as Larry. You can use that for products, buying products, lead magnets. You can use it for all sorts of things. So that is another way that you can encourage with CTAs, like call to actions, that automation can help you manage that as well.
Yeah. What was that tool? The chat one?
ManyChat.
Okay. And so I guess on that point of view is, it could be to get people to listen to the podcast. It could be to warm them up with your articles and content and stuff like that. So when you do a stronger call to action in terms of buy this product, they've already heard about you and maybe even engaged with you previously, rather than just going cold trying to flog stuff. Would that be right or not?
Either. So it depends on where they are in that awareness, in that customer journey. So if they're at the top end and they aren't aware that they have a problem, I always say, stick clear of those people. You want the people that actually know they have
Problems.
Because then if they're problem aware, then they're actively looking for a solution. So they are curious. So you can be providing content to them in that way to takes them along that customer journey with you until they're in that ready to buy phase. And statistically, that ready to buy phase is from 3 to 10% of your audience. So it's majority of people require that warm up, but then there's some that are ready to buy right now. And I have a solution for that too.
Good to hear.
When people are at that 3%, so the pointy end, you don't know. They're not going to say, "Oh, hey, I'm at the pointy end. Show me where your goods are." They're very much actively seeking a solution, and then they find you, and they don't know if you have the solution or not unless you tell them. So unless you actually ask for the sale. I know, it's such a novel concept. Ask for the sale.
I know. Shocking.
Something I learned quite a few years ago I can't take credit for it. I learned it from Joel Irway, and it's called a power offer. And what it does is it's copy that's written in a particular way that speaks directly to that 3%. So in other words, there's no woofing around. It's just direct. We have a solution. You have this problem. We can solve it for you. And they can work amazingly to get people booking calls into your calendar. So they'll work with a cold audience, because remember, there's always a 3%, regardless of whether it's in your warm audience or your cold audience. They'll work with a warm audience to convert them over. And so you can take a power offer and you put it as an ad, which can then direct to an application funnel or a booking funnel or something like that. And you can automatically be getting those 3% people. Or it even can go to a messenger conversation. Just depends on how you set up your ad, really.
Yep.
But you can get those people in on autopilot. Those 3%, like they're the ones like if you are looking for clients right now, that is the most direct course to clients that will pay you money for your thing.
So what's an example of a power offer?
So an example would be, so Trevor, if I personally invited you to, or if I was to, I'm doing ad leap here. So if I was to create a marketing system for you in the next 30 days that helped you to increase your leads by 1,000 without you needing to show up on video, without you needing to write a single email, without you needing to post on social, would you take me up on that offer?
Well, I'm going to say yes. I could say no, and you'd that throws you into a spin. But I'll say yes, of course.
That's the kind of thing. So you're talking to your solution of what you can do for them. What's the outcome for people from that solution, and what's the pain points that you're eliminating in order to give them that solution. So now, in other words, you don't have to write the emails, you don't have to do the social posting, you don't have to show up in video. We're going to do all that for you.
Right.
It's
And
very
so that power offer is that a kind of like a signature offer then, for where you can get maximum transformation for your clients?
Yeah, you can use it at all levels. So, you can even use it with a low ticket offer, but it's very powerful for high tickets, leading to application funnels, getting people on Messenger. So, in other words, you could, if you didn't want to have a funnel, you could just do a Messenger ad and people can reply and you can get people having conversations with them in Messenger. Just kind of depends on how you like to do business and how you like to talk to your people. But it's very powerful in getting those people who are champing at the bit for a solution and getting them into your world really quickly. And it just all on autopilot just happens, gets them in there.
Yep. So there's the combination of your advertising, just your content, just to start feeding the beast and I guess extending the reach of your voice in that regard, and paying to do it, but paying at a low level. And then you could keep that going on autopilot. A goal would then, hopefully, if it's a podcast, they go and listen to it, subscribe to it. If they like it, that means that they're going to get deeper into your world. I guess the other part of it is it might be if you like the story, you might subscribe to a newsletter so you get the email, I guess. And then if they're on email, then you've got a nurture sequence on top of that where you can keep them a little bit more connected with you. And then of course, you have a power offer, which is going to be more of a paid thing, but it gets people, the right people, as you said, and this is how I understand it, up to 3% of the audience that you're aiming at, to take action, and then I guess the automation is how you deal with that, whether you do want to talk to them or do it through chat, which I know you can do an amazing job now through chat, and they're all, I guess, the little technical things underneath it all.
Yes. And then, so if we've got the awareness stage, so like I said, we can use that for a warm audience. Well, so how I look at, I probably should have explained this earlier, but I'll do it now. So how I look at people is that we've got top of funnel, so people who have not heard of you before, so that's AKA a cold audience. Then we've got middle of funnel, which is your warm audience. And then we've got bottom of funnel, which is like your hot, your 3% ready to go right now. So once you've got the awareness going on, so you've got the awareness, you're attracting people who are from a cold audience perspective at top of funnel, using your podcast, using your blogs, so you can just put engagement posts around the blogs, getting people to those. Then we've got the power offers, because it's like, well, we really want those 3% that are wanting to buy right now, so we can put those out. You can do that to cold audience. You can also then do it to your warm audience. You can use it as an email. It's very similar to the 9-word email, Dean Jackson's 9-word email. So it's a very similar concept. But then if we look at, okay, well, what about lead generation in general? So, you talked about if perhaps there was some sort of lead magnet. So you've got content as awareness strategy. So what kind of things, if someone was going to come into your world and sign up to your list, what do you have for that?
Yep. Currently, I'm actually recently doing this. I have my book, Content Marketing for PR, and I've done an audio version, and so people can get the full audio version for free.
Okay, so the audio version's free and the book is a certain cost?
No, I haven't got that as a, that's just available on Amazon. I'm not kind of actively selling that.
Got you.
Um, it's just available everywhere. So the free audio book is just really to, if people are interested in that, then they'll be interested in everything else I talk about. So that's I guess the incentive to join subscribe to my newsletter.
So how do you
Become your own PR machine.
so how do you currently get the word out about that?
Really, I've only just recently started it, and it's the podcast "Become Your Own PR Machine" and the newsletter, which I haven't even sent out. I think I've sent one, so this is really new. It's my I guess it's my concept, and Become Your Own PR Machine will be micro training as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my business is I've made the transition pretty much 100% over the last couple of years from pure consulting and actually running a virtual agency to coaching strategy and then coaching people on content and digital communications. And that's kind of a new concept here in Australia, at least. Most people want to do the work for you. They run agencies, or they want to do the work because that's where they make the money from.
Yeah.
So I'm in a really good position to coach that. So in terms of the coaching and the consulting and coaching side of things, that's all word of mouth. So that just ticks along. And, when someone comes into my world on that front, they've checked me out fairly heavily. They've probably been referred, and it's almost 100% conversion. So that I don't, at this point, not doing too much to, because that's working. But the micro training for Become Your Own PR Machine and some online courses and maybe group coaching, then that's where I'll want to bring all this into play.
Yeah, cool. So there is a lot that you can do to kind of automate that whole process. So, the whole concept of the value ladder, I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Having products at lower price points and going up and up. And there's a lot to be said for it. And so when we talked about the power offer before, instead of asking people to go up the ladder, we're actually getting them straight to the top. That's what a power offer does. So we're going straight to the top. Now, when it comes to lead generation, say with your audio book, you can create a whole funnel around that of getting the audio book is the front end, and on the thank you page can then become a tripwire, which then can lead to say you come up with another small product, maybe less than $50, that you can then put on that thank you page. Now, will a lot of people buy that from coming from the free, and then you can put ads spend behind that as well. So you can drive people through that entire funnel. You might get maybe 1 to 3% who will then do the tripwire because they have opted in for something free. So they're further back on that journey in their curiosity and looking for a solution. Whereas if they were further along this way, they're more likely to sort of pay to play.
Yeah. So tripwire being when they get it, you do a thank you page, and hey, for a limited time, you can buy this extra product for 20% off, sort of thing.
Correct. And then you might give them 24, 48 hours with follow-up emails in case they didn't jump on it right then and there, that they have that opportunity as well. So that's something you do with the audiobook. And then so that's using lead generation of something that's free and getting people in. My personal preference is when they, as I said earlier, they pay to be part of your world. So you have some low ticket item that you're putting out there, less than $27, say $27, $17, $9, those various things. And then you have an entire funnel around that takes people on their own little customer journey within that funnel. So I'm just going to use your audiobook as an example because I can then stack it up. So let's say you weren't giving the audiobook for free. You're offering it for, say, $9 as an example. Then the order bumps that might be associated with that are, and again, let's say you were actually selling the book, then you might have the paper version as an order bump to the audio version. Often it's the other way, but let's go with it. And and then after that, there might then be another offer because you have actually a complete course, which is what the book was created from, that takes them further into that. Because generally how it works from a funnel perspective is there's a little micro problem here. The order bumps are around enhancing the results that someone gets by solving that micro problem. And then the one-time offer, kind of that third step within a funnel, sometimes there can be multiple offers after that, is around going a bit more in depth. So it's for the people who like to go more in depth on something, will generally sort of go to that part of the customer journey and buy that other product as well. And so what that means is you've got people coming into your world. You get to know what pathway they've taken. So you can have multiple versions of these, and you get an idea for what problems work best. And you can test this as well with ads and put it out there. You can test it with your warm audience first and just throw something together. And because testing is one of the big things I love to do, and it means you might just put out a social post and then send them an order form link. Like, in order to test something, you don't need a fancy smancy sales page and all that sort of stuff. When you're putting real ad spend behind it, yeah, you do. But so that allows you to put marketing channels on autopilot that are feeding through to perhaps your higher ticket offers or your mid ticket offers, whatever that looks like. But it's creating paid channels that people are coming into your world, and then they're often looking for the next thing. So like if you had a membership, you depending on the price of your membership, you can put it at top of funnel, or you can have as an order bump or a one-time offer and having something at the front end. So it's about getting people into your world and then getting to know, like, and trust you. So they don't necessarily have to do it through content. They can do it through your products. So they can do that rather than maybe taking a long time through your content. Because some people don't want to take the long way. They want to take the short way. And so they're willing to buy the product because they want the problem solved. And you can put all of that on autopilot. The ads to the product, to then into your system, all the emails go off, and it just happens. And you wake up in the morning and people have purchased your product and they're now in your world.
Yeah, nice. And obviously for expertise-based businesses, that would work really, really well for. The other part of it is, so that's even the delivery when you're productizing it. What about when you were talking about other sorts of when you were talking about delivery before? Is that the sort of thing you're talking about? You have to productize that for that to happen, or I think you mentioned earlier though, it's still a lead gen thing. But if I guess if you're offering consulting services or something like that, people would have to call you or text you or use the chat, or a lot of times they might have to fill out an application form to work with you as well. So, or have a video call, a discovery call to see, be able to ask questions. So I guess that side of things can, you'll still turn up if it's a Zoom call, but it's all been in your diary and it's all just, laid out for you.
Correct. So that's another scenario. So that if you are in the consulting and your service type business, that if you haven't productized your knowledge, then you might be waking up to appointments booked in your calendar. So that's the different scenario of how that can work.
So that means you're doing a fair bit with, the time is spent in setting it up, of course.
Yes.
And once it's kind of working, I guess from an ads point of view, you want to be reviewing that. But that can be pretty hands off, as you say. What are the other parts? Do you sort of get into the admin? So that's delivery. I guess there might be some other types of delivery, or management of your business, admin. Do you get into any other parts, or they're the areas that you stick to?
So admin's funny. I don't feel like I do a lot of admin, and I don't have an assistant. I have a team member who's a digital marketer, so she helps me with a lot of marketing stuff. But I don't know. I feel like admin wise, I've eliminated a lot of that. So, for instance, invoicing, mine's just automatic, just happens. So someone signs up, they sign up through a link, whether that's one-to-one services, whether that's for a product, that all happens. It all goes into my Xero automatically with a bit of a zap. So stuff like that. I don't worry about. I'm just trying to think of other admin. I'm not very good at admin. Obviously, I don't do a lot.
Well, I think the thing that what you're saying there is the system. I mean, you set it up, the invoice is issued, paid, and that side of things happens, and they get a receipt, and goes into your bank account, and you've probably got Stripe set up or whoever, PayPal, and that side of things is, rather than sitting down and writing out invoices. Some businesses might have to do that when it's different invoices each month, but at the end of the day is there are things that if it's pretty steady, then it can be all set up, and then
Absolutely.
it's another thing off your plate, hopefully.
And even something as simple as this can make a really big difference to someone. If you don't have an online calendar system, this can make a massive impact. The amount of people that I have come across that will spend time emailing back and forth or on Messenger or something like that, trying to figure out the right time for the two of them to meet. When if you just had a calendar link which allowed them to book online and you just send them the link, they can pick the time that works for them, and you've set the boundaries for yourself around the times that work for you. Something as simple as that can make a massive impact to someone who doesn't currently have it.
Yeah, and you're talking about a Calendly or a SavvyCal, or there's a million of them out there.
Yeah.
So
Calendly is probably
they're
the most user-friendly one, I personally believe.
I think the other thing with that is people are used to doing that now. I think, a few years back it was probably, oh, should I be doing this? But I think mindset comes into a lot of this, like the mindset of, or having a growth mindset for starters, but just the psychologically, I guess, be willing to let go is probably something that people struggle with. I know I probably would a little bit. Things are out and running, and are they working? How do I know? What's going on? That side of things. I guess there's a little bit of not a danger, but that would be a concern for some people. And there are people who run businesses, and it's very human. And I guess the challenge then is how do you humanize automation, because there are online marketers who brutalize people. That's the only way I can say it, with their emails and their offers and their promotions and their ads, and it can be quite brutal. Yes. And I guess they stuff it up for everyone else, as we always say. Marketers stuff up most things for most people. But what do you say around that, about the notion? Do you find that some of your clients push back on a little bit of that and say, the robots, what can I, how can I humanize it? How can I make it more me?
I often come across that comment. People will say, but how do I, but it's me. Like, I can't put any automation in place for that. Well, actually, yes, you can, because I can tell you the automation will fail a lot less than the humans will. So onboarding is a perfect example. There's so many people in business that have this entire manual process around onboarding, and one little bit gets missed by some human who's trying to do the manual onboarding thing. And next thing you know, the new customer has not had the most amazing experience, and is therefore then there's this little shadow of doubt in the back of their mind, have I done the right thing? coming on board with this
Yeah.
person. Whereas there's things you can put in place around automation to help support that level of customer service, that level of wow that you want to deliver for your customers. Because then that also then frees up the humans to do the real human bits, do the random calls of how's it going, whatever it looks like. But if we can automate as much as possible to eliminate error and to ensure that there's a seamless experience, it can make a massive impact, not only from the customer's perspective, but also internally in the business, because you're not waking up at 4 a.m. going, oh my God, I forgot to do that thing. Or, even if you have a checklist that you got interrupted by this thing, so you didn't get to the 5th item on the checklist, or, whatever that looks like, put automation in place to help support you in your business, deliver the absolute best experience that you can for your clients and customers.
With the onboarding, can you take us a little bit deeper on what that would look like?
So I'll give you an accounting firm example, simply because that's probably my easiest one that I really know end to end. Back in the day when I had my accounting firm, I was one of the early adopters of Practice Ignition. And Practice Ignition is a software that allows you to have all of your services or packages or whatever that looks like within the system. You're speaking to someone, you create the package, they can then sign off on it, even on the screen. That then goes into your project management system, which then shoots off, so now we need to get this information, and now we need to do this, and this is what you need to do next, and this is your checklist. And there's a little task there for the customer experience person to call them up and say, okay, we're at this point in the. See, that's where if you can automate all that other stuff, you can have that little phone call that makes all the difference in the experience that someone is having. So automate what can't be wowed, I like to say, because automate the boring, automate the admin, which is why when you asked me about admin, I was like, not sure what that is. So that's kind of an example of then the project management system does all the things. And, so it's about taking what you do and making it flow into, because ultimately, if we look at it from one extreme to the other, we've got person who doesn't know you here, and then we've got client experience, client project ended, or, you're working with the client here. So it's all these bits in the middle that you can automate to streamline that entire experience so that they have the most wow time with you, because the more wow you get from those people, the more wow they deliver and tell others about how good you are. And it's like this little perpetual cycle.
Yeah. And if you're doing your business in such a way that you're productizing as well, and you can take yourself out of it a little bit as well, then that's when you can increase your profits a lot, well, exponentially. Then I guess from that point of view, not everyone will productize. Some people will fully productize. Most people will probably hybrid. Can you hybridize? Do a bit of both. There's a word, hybridize. It'll be word of the year. And so that's where you're making your money. But a lot of what you're talking about is time as well, and frustration. And I guess it's hard enough running a business as it is, without spending 80 hours a week on it, and in fact cutting some time. And that allows you, if you wanted to spend more time on your clients or your development of new programs or your clients your content as well.
Totally.
So it's kind of all encompassing, isn't it?
It is. My big thing is I'm all about a 4-day work week, and whatever that looks like to the person. Like you said, you might spend day 5 working on your business because that's what you love to do, and you're creating this and doing all this sort of stuff. for me personally, I don't work full hours in a day during the week. That's what my 4-day week looks like. Um,
Yep.
and mine goes through seasons depending on what I'm creating and things like that. Productization, it can be really beneficial in two ways. So often we think, only I can do this. No one else can do this. No one else can think like I can. No one else can, um, do this the way I do it. Probably very true, but it doesn't mean you can't take that knowledge and actually systematize it into a structure and format that allows someone else to learn it. So one, you can then take that and sell it as a product. It could even be like, if you didn't think it was possible from a DIY perspective, it could be a done with you. People work through the materials. You're there as a coach. You are then helping support them to work through those materials. You start to see any gaps that you have in the content that you've made and that sort of thing as far as the product goes. But also those type of products can be really beneficial if you want to build team and you want to clone you and have more of you doing the thing for one-to-one clients, as an example. You can take that knowledge that you've done to create that done with you program and bring on other team members to then do the done for you, because you've taken what's in your head and put it in there, into a format that allows someone else to learn it and then do it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and you're right. There is, the done for you model. We know very, very well. We're moving towards a done with you model, which is probably where the trend is. And also, there is the DIY as well. That some businesses are getting into that as well. So, again, there's no right or wrong. It's what's right for you, your business, your goals, what you're trying to do, and it's a matter of understanding the big picture first, and then cutting it down to size for what's going to work for you. And as you say, automate and sit back. No, I won't say sit back and let the dollars roll in. I'm sounding like an online marketer there.
Well, I have a bit of a saying, and that's this. Automate your business. Oh, sorry, no, I'll start it again. Put your business on autopilot so your life isn't.
Yep.
Because that's what happens.
Makes perfect sense. And I think that, we haven't used the word leverage, I don't think yet, or I may have said it right at the outset, but all of this is about leveraging your smarts, your skills, your time, your knowledge, your expertise. You're leveraging everything. And the better you get at that, you got to just go down the track, and you might start small, et cetera, or get someone like yourself, Alicia, on board and to help you, which leads me, thank you very much. This has been lots of gold there and lots of eye-opening stuff too, lots for people to think about. The other part of it is, where should we send people online if they are interested to know a little bit about more of what you do and all the great stuff you offer?
So probably there's the two places. So there's my personal brand, and then there's Business Performance HQ. So I have started hanging out on Instagram a lot more. So we can put that in the show notes properly. But AlyciaEdgar.com is my main personal brand website, and then businessperformancehq.com is where all of my products and programs and courses are generally held.
Awesome. That is fantastic. And follow you on Instagram, on the gram, as they say.
On the gram.
Not TikTok yet? Not on TikTok?
Well, there might be a few videos on TikTok. I decided I had to try and pick one platform and get back on there, and I'll leave this as a little thing. I wasn't showing up on socials because I got so good at paid ads. I didn't need to, and I didn't want to. I kind of hid away for quite a while, and then I got to a point where I wanted to do different things. So I was like, and I had clients that had all of these social and content marketing stuff, and I would take it and we'd amplify it, and they, get all these fantastic results. And I was like, oh, I haven't got that piece.
All right. So now you're out loud and proud
Yeah.
again. We can see you. We can see you. Awesome. Thank you very, very, very much for your time and your generous sharing of knowledge.
Thanks so much, Trevor. It's been a pleasure.